Have you ever felt like someone was slipping away from your life no matter how hard you tried to hold on? What if that wasn't bad luck, but protection from Allah? Sometimes the relationships we cry over are the very ones Allah is saving us from. There are signs, subtle, emotional, and even spiritual, that show He's guiding you away from harm. If you've ever questioned why something didn't work out, stay with this video. You might find your answer today. 1. Constant obstacles and delays. Sometimes, no matter how much effort you put into a relationship, things just don't flow. Plans keep getting cancelled, misunderstandings multiply, families disagree, or unexpected events interfere. These constant interruptions may not be random. They can be a form of divine protection. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, might be placing barriers in your path not to frustrate you, but to save you from something your eyes can't yet see. Imagine trying to travel a road full of potholes, detours, and blocked turns. At some point, you'd wonder if it's even safe to continue. Relationships are similar. If everything feels forced or overly complicated, it may be a sign from Allah that this is not the path meant for you. Even if the connection seems strong or your feelings are intense, Allah sees the future you cannot. For example, you may be trying to move toward marriage, but every step forward leads to more confusion or delay. That repeated resistance could be Allah's mercy, stopping you from entering a relationship that would bring more harm than happiness. In such moments, instead of pushing harder, step back and reflect. Sometimes the no's in life are actually a loud and loving yes from Allah to something better. 2. Lack of peace in your heart, no sukoon. One of the most powerful signs that something isn't right in a relationship is the absence of inner peace. Sukoon. Even if the person seems good on paper, if your heart constantly feels heavy, anxious, or uncertain around them, it's not something to ignore. In Islam, the heart plays a key role in recognizing what aligns with our soul. If a relationship is meant for you, it should bring a sense of calm, not chaos. You might find yourself overthinking, feeling uneasy after conversations, or experiencing a strange emotional tension you can't explain. Even small issues might leave you drained or doubtful. That quiet discomfort is not weakness. It could be your fitrah, your natural spiritual instinct, warning you that something doesn't sit right with your soul. For example, someone may have good manners and say all the right things, but if your heart feels unsettled in their presence, it could be a divine sign. Allah often guides us through these subtle feelings. Peace isn't found in excitement or attraction, it's found in alignment. A heart at rest is a heart closer to the truth. Instead of forcing yourself to feel okay, ask Allah for clarity. True connections bring tranquility, not turmoil. 3. The person pulls you away from Islam. A major warning sign that Allah is protecting you from a harmful relationship is when the connection begins to weaken your relationship with Him. In Islam, any bond that distances you from your faith, values, or acts of worship is not a blessing. It's a test. Love should never come at the expense of your deen. You might notice that you no longer feel inspired to pray on time. Your motivation to seek knowledge fades, or your sense of modesty begins to slip. Sometimes it happens subtly. Maybe you're constantly distracted by conversations that revolve around dunya, worldly desires, or you're pressured into justifying actions that go against your beliefs. It's easy to ignore at first, but over time, the shift becomes clear. You're not the same spiritually. For example, someone might claim to support your values but constantly encourages bending rules just this once. Or they may not take your spiritual goals seriously, making you feel like your faith is a burden in the relationship. But Allah never places you in a bond that demands you to dim your light or compromise your soul. A relationship that's right for you will nurture your connection with Allah, not threaten it. Choose the path that brings you closer to Him. 4. Unanswered du'as about the person. When we deeply desire someone, it's natural to turn to Allah in du'a, asking Him to make things work out. But sometimes, despite our sincere and repeated prayers, we receive no clear response. It may feel confusing or even painful, but silence can be an answer too, an answer of wisdom, not neglect. Allah is Al-Hakim, the Most Wise. If you're consistently praying for clarity, guidance, or a smooth path forward with someone, but instead you're met with more confusion, complications, or emotional heaviness, this might be His way of redirecting you. Not every dua is meant to be fulfilled the way we imagine. Sometimes Allah withholds something to protect you from future sorrow you cannot foresee. For example, you might have asked Allah to make a certain person your spouse, but after months of prayer, the bond becomes more distant, or the person starts pulling away. While your heart might feel rejected, your soul is actually being shielded. Allah responds in the way that's best for your hereafter, not just your temporary comfort. Remember, unanswered du'as are not a sign that Allah doesn't care. They're often the clearest sign that He does. Trust His timing over your timeline, it's always more merciful. 5. Repeated emotional pain or toxic cycles. When a relationship brings more pain than peace, it's often a clear sign that Allah is protecting you. Constant emotional ups and downs, crying over the same issues, feeling unheard, disrespected, or emotionally neglected, aren't just signs of incompatibility. They may be Allah's way of showing you this isn't where your heart is meant to settle. Healthy love doesn't leave you feeling confused or broken. If you're stuck in a cycle of apologizing for things that aren't your fault, constantly seeking validation, or shrinking parts of yourself just to maintain peace, you're not growing. You're surviving. And Allah didn't create you to merely survive someone's love. For example, if every disagreement turns into manipulation, silent treatment, or emotional guilt, it's not just a rough patch, it's a pattern. And when that pattern repeats, despite efforts to fix it, it could be divine intervention urging you to walk away. Allah wants emotional and spiritual well-being for you, not constant distress disguised as love. Pain is sometimes the most honest messenger. Instead of holding on out of fear or hope for change, reflect on what your emotions are teaching you. If the love is costing you your joy, your self-worth, or your connection to Allah, it's not worth keeping. 6. Sudden separation or disconnection. Sometimes a relationship ends abruptly, without closure, without warning, and without a clear reason. It feels like the rug was pulled out from under you. One day things seem fine, and the next, the other person goes silent, pulls away, or disappears from your life. As painful and confusing as it is, this sudden disconnection could be a form of divine protection. Allah sees what we cannot. He knows what lies ahead, intentions, hidden flaws, future pain. And sometimes, when we're too attached to let go on our own, He removes that person for us. It might feel like loss, but in reality, it's mercy. A heartbreak today can save you from a breakdown tomorrow. For example, you may have thought this person was the one, but just before things got serious, they vanished or their true character surfaced. This isn't rejection, it's redirection. Allah doesn't break your heart to punish you. He breaks illusions to make space for what's real, what's safe, and what's written for you. Instead of chasing answers that may never come, trust that separation happened for your protection. What leaves you suddenly often carries a burden you weren't meant to carry long-term. Let go with faith, not fear. 7. Signs in istikhara or life circumstances. When you sincerely turn to Allah through istikhara, you're asking Him to guide you toward what is best for your dunya and akhirah. One of the ways this guidance manifests is through what unfolds afterward. Not necessarily in a dream, but through real-life events, emotions, and circumstances that either open doors or gently close them. For example, after praying istikhara about someone, you might begin to feel a growing discomfort, experience more confusion than clarity, or encounter unexpected problems that weren't there before. These are not random. They can be Allah's way of directing you away from what isn't good for you. Sometimes the person changes suddenly, or external situations make the relationship impossible to continue smoothly. This isn't a coincidence, it's divine orchestration. Guidance from Allah doesn't always come with dramatic signs. It often comes in the form of ease or hardship. If things become increasingly heavy, if your heart feels burdened rather than lightened, it's worth paying attention. Istikhara isn't about forcing an answer to match your desire. It's about trusting Allah to reveal what's truly meant for you. Let go of the need to control the outcome. If your steps are being blocked, it may be because Allah is clearing the path to something far better. Sometimes Allah's no is His greatest protection. Trust His wisdom even when it hurts. Comment this dua. Ya Allah, guide me to what protects my heart and pleases you.